There's no place to put it.
I'm sorry, I cannot keep this line open.
Operator, wait, listen to me. We're shipwrecked, you see, and we found this telephone line and we tapped into it. And we're on a deserted island, there's no telephone booth or even a phone.
Why do I get all the nuts?
Gilligan's Island usually brings to mind coconut radios, botched rescue plans, and Bob Denver stumbling through paradise as America's favorite nervous little buddy. But behind that sunny theme song was a much frostier story involving Denver, Tina Louise, bruised egos, billing disputes, and a silence that lasted years. The strange part is that Denver, who could be playful and generous with his fellow castaways, reportedly drew a hard line when it came to Ginger. Before we start, drop a comment below. Tell us who you preferred on the island, Ginger, Marianne, or someone else entirely. Because while Gilligan's Island looked like harmless tropical nonsense, the secret Bob Denver kept while filming was that one of television's happiest sets may have had a real Cold War hiding just off camera. Island Smiles.
Now, you did not have a break when you got the show Gilligan. Didn't you go right from, did I get this right, from Dobie Gillis
to Gilligan?
Right to Gilligan.
Right. And then from there I went to another show called The Good Guys, which nobody ever heard of.
Well, fortunately, the Gilligan's Island deal just stayed on and on and on.
It must be up there in the top rerunner of all series, I think.
Yeah.
Gilligan's Island premiered in 1964 with one of the simplest setups in sitcom history. 7 very different people go out for a 3-hour tour, get caught in a storm, and spend the next 98 episodes failing to get rescued. Bob Denver was already familiar to television viewers from The Many Lovers of Dobie Gillis, where he played Maynard G. Krebs. That helped make him a recognizable comic presence before Gilligan ever tripped over a palm frond. The show was built as an ensemble, but Denver's name and character sat right at the center. Gilligan was the title, the mascot, and the walking disaster who ruined nearly every escape plan. And that balance mattered. Jim Backus had old Hollywood polish as Thurston Howell III. Alan Hale Jr. brought warmth as the skipper. Don Wells and Russell Johnson rounded out the group beautifully. But Tina Louise arrived with a very different expectation. Ginger arrives.
Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. Let me do a few tricks, some old and then some new tricks. I'm very versatile.
Tina Louise was not just another sitcom newcomer. She had worked on stage, appeared in films, and won attention for God's Little Acre. To many, she looked like the cast member most likely to bring glamour to the show. Ginger Grant was written as the movie star, the island's built-in reminder of Hollywood fantasy. She wore gowns in the jungle, spoke like someone expecting a close-up, and turned shipwreck life into a dressing room with palm trees. But Louise reportedly expected the role to be bigger than it became. Instead of becoming the obvious female lead, she became one piece of a comic machine, where Gilligan's clumsiness and Marianne's wholesomeness often grabbed just as much attention. That may have been where the frustration started. A performer who thought she was stepping into a showcase suddenly found herself sharing oxygen with coconut cream pies, bamboo inventions, and a title character who could wreck an escape attempt by sneezing at the wrong time. Cold cameras.
It had to be you. It had to be you.
The most talked about tension involved Denver and Louise. Old accounts from the set suggest Denver would not explain why he and Louise did not get along. That silence is what made the story grow teeth. While the other cast members reportedly joked and talked between takes, Louise was said to keep to herself. The image is almost too perfect. 6 castaways laughing together while Ginger sits apart. Still glamorous, still distant, and possibly very unhappy. The sharpest detail came from a photo situation. Denver reportedly refused to pose with Louise alone. Whether that was personal dislike, loyalty to Don Wells, or a protest against Ginger for being singled out, it fed the legend immediately. What makes the rumor so strange is none of it shows on screen. Gilligan and Ginger still play their scenes with cartoon-perfect timing. Denver may have been irritated, Louise may have felt disappointed, but when the cameras rolled, the island still worked. Credit trouble.
Oh, the rest. Oh, yeah. Yeah, how you could do a show with about 7 people on an island And throw two of them out, I have no idea. But that was the way it was, and it was nothing we could do about it. We were very upset by it.
The credits created another sore spot. During the first season, the theme song named most of the cast by character type, then finished with the now famous slight, "and the rest." That meant the professor and Mary Ann were left out of the opening lyrics. The reason has often been tied to billing concerns. Tina Louise wanted a specific placement, and the show worked around that by keeping Russell Johnson and Don Wells outside the main lyric. Denver eventually pushed back. As the title star, he had leverage. The story goes that he threatened to move his own credit if the show did not give Johnson and Wells proper recognition. By the second season, the professor and Mary Ann had been added to the song. It was a small lyrical change, but for fans it became permanent. It also showed something important about Denver. He may have kept quiet about the clash with Louise, but he was not afraid to use his position when he thought the ensemble was being treated unfairly. After the island.
You had a pet back home, and it was a turtle. Do you remember the turtle's name?
Walter.
No, it was Herman. Herman. Wow, you're 2 for 2. That's very good.
When Gilligan's Island ended in 1967, the castaways did not simply vanish. Reruns turned the show into a pop culture fixture, and reunion projects eventually followed. Louise, however, stayed away from many of those reunions. Other actresses played Ginger in later Gilligan projects, which only made the old rumors stronger. Fans wondered if she hated the show, hated the role, or hated the memories attached to it. Over time, Louise gave a softer version of the story. She said she loved playing Ginger once the character was written in a way that worked for her. She also spoke warmly about Don Wells after Wells passed away. So maybe the secret was not one dramatic feud. Maybe it was a workplace tension that nobody wanted to fully explain while the show was still making money. Denver kept his reasons to himself, Louise protected her own career, and the network kept selling Paradise. Somehow, that makes the story feel even more human. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Bob Denver was standing up for the rest of the cast, or do you think the tension with Tina Louise was more personal than anyone ever admitted? Let us know in the comments section below.